So it's great to meet you, man. And you got such a great backstory. And before we kind of peel back the layers, I want to deal with what we've gone through for the last 3.5 years or so, living through a pandemic. How did you get
Yep.
through that time period, and how did it change you?
So got through it. It really changed our business in the way that we cleaned up a lot of what we were doing. Especially the home service business that I'm in, doing property inspections. As revenue was growing, so was our expenses, and a lot of the things that we were spending money on, we were just spending it and not really knowing where it was going or what the KPIs behind it. Was this actually giving us more business or taking away business or not giving us anything? And we were just saying yes to a lot of things. And then the pandemic came, and bluntly, we didn't know really what was going to happen. They shut down the world. So temporarily, the home inspection or property inspection business that I'm in, it contracted a little bit,
Yeah.
but then people started buying real estate and we started doing more property inspections. And that really wasn't our worst year. But it forced us to start looking at, okay, maybe we need to clean up things. Maybe some of the benefits that we gave, are they really benefits?
Yeah.
Like paying toll fees for inspectors. Is that something we should be doing, or shouldn't be doing? And when we looked at the budget, we're spending 30, 40 grand in tolls a year
Yeah.
for employees and so it just really forced us to get real about our expenses. If we're going to spend money, there needs to be a return. We need to see the results of it. And that's really I guess the blessing of COVID for us was, hey, revenue's going up, but so is this expense line's going up too. And at the end of the day, what does it matter if you're not seeing the net profit go
Yeah.
up as well?
So I guess a part of it is really silver linings. I mean, that's a huge silver lining.
Oh yeah, huge. It was yeah, you always have to look at like the lesson or the good things that came from it. And that was for us was completely, a blessing in disguise. We
Yeah.
retracted, we had to get rid of, some key people or not, I don't know to say key people, but some employees and stuff to get through and then you realize, hey, we were promoting this person and giving raises every year. Should we have been doing that? Was it really just, did their performance indicate that, or were we just kind of like the government and just giving promotions based on how long they've been there?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and we were like, so
Right.
like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, they're nice, they're cool. Yeah, they've been with us for 5 years. Yeah, they get a raise and a promotion, and so it really made us clean up everything, not just expenses, but how we train, how we hire, how we promote, how we do our reviews and stuff like that as well.
So let's get to the heart and soul of what you do on a daily basis. I'm going to put you in front of a bunch of third graders. It's
Okay.
career day. And one of the kids asks you, "What do you do for a living?" How do you answer that child?
So what I do for a living is kind of exciting. I help people do their jobs. So I help people do their jobs easier as the leader of our companies. And I give them the resources they need to do them more efficient and better. And I get to help people every single day. And it's awesome.
So what did you want to be in the third grade? What was your dream?
Oh, third grade. I think in third grade I think I had a dream to still play baseball.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a baseball player. I wanted to definitely be an athlete. And my dad, ever since I was a little kid, my dad was an Olympic fencer. So he fenced, but his passion was really baseball.
Yeah.
And so he loved the Yankees. He's from New York. And I thought that all the greatest players played for the Yankees. It wasn't until I got a little older that I realized, wait, Ted Williams, there's other great players that weren't part of the Yankees.
Yeah.
Um, and so he really kind of, I don't want to say forced it, but definitely that's what we did. Growing up, it was, let's play catch, let's play home run derby in the front yard. And so baseball was my dream until I got to college and, was away from home, got injured and went through that and realized, do I still want to do baseball, or where do I want to take this?
Yeah.
And figuring out that as I got older, what was really
S-
going to be that path.
So what happened after the injury, and what kind of path did you get on that led to today? How did it evolve into who you are?
Well, for baseball, baseball was like my passion. So I was a freshman in college. I was going to a small Division I school in Jersey City, which was a culture shock. I'm from Northern Virginia, a very growing county. You know, it's grown a lot since I grew up here. But and then I go to Jersey City, and I don't go to on the water in the Hudson River near Jersey City. I'm like inland, and it's very, pretty much like a third world country at that time. And so it was, the struggle of being away from home, small Division I school. It was a commuter school, so only a couple thousand people lived on campus. It was apartment style housing. And it was a city living. So it was totally different. Um, and just struggling. And so I focused really on baseball, and then I got injured, and it was like I kind of got lost because I had an injury that was going to take 9 to 12 months to rehab. Had to get surgery. It's Tommy John,
Oh,
and this was the first time in my life that I couldn't play baseball for a long period of time. And as you're an 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid, that's your identity. My identity was wrapped in baseball. And so now I go from being a freshman who was potentially going to start on varsity to now now they don't, it's like they forget about you because you're not part of the core group that's going to take them to wins and progress in their season. And so it was kind of like, oh no, like I get injured. I'm kind of doing rehab every single day, but I'm not practicing with the team every day. I still have to show up, but I'm just kind of on the sidelines.
hmm,
And it was hard and I struggled. I partied a little bit more than I probably should have, and did that thing. And then I'm in Jersey City, and the program that I was there that was looked promising the year before that when I got recruited, I'm watching it derail. So I'm watching, the coach who poor leadership, and I kind of let this I did. I know I did. I let the negativity consume me,
yeah,
and I became a critic. And it's like one of the worst things you can become because
yeah,
it destroys you. And I was like, I need to leave here and get out. And that's what I did. I transferred out, beginning of my sophomore year. It was the fall of my sophomore year. And came back home, went to community college for a semester,
yeah,
and then I'm like, you know what? I need to go live the college experience for a year. And so I went down to Old Dominion University just to go to college. And how overrated was that? It was for me, school. I've never been big into school. I did do some political science stuff, which was extremely interesting for me, but having just going to school and not having the baseball,
yeah,
that was a struggle in itself. And so so then I went there for a year, struggled in school, and then I left there and said, you know what? There's a Division III school that's nationally ranked now. A lot of the kids that I played baseball with growing up are going there at Shenandoah University, Division III. They're in the top 25 in the country for D3. This coach seems like he knows what he's doing. And people that I knew were having success. And I said, what about this? And so I called the coach, went to meet him, and then I ended up playing my last 2 years of college out of five. So I was on the 5 year plan at Shenandoah University, where we were nationally ranked, back-to-back regionals, um, and it's probably one of the best baseball programs in the country and at any division now.
yeah.
So.
That's wonderful. So after that time period, what did you do after school? Where did that lead you?
So I want I so I my dad, we had a family business, property inspections. And so at the time it was just my dad and my brother. And here I am going to school playing baseball. My grades drastically improved. I was got a business administration degree with a focus in finance and economics. And so if you ask me what I wanted to do then, it was, hey, I want to make money, but I
Yeah,
want to be in kind of like the financial services space.
yeah,
But then I realized, hey, we have this good family business. My dad and my brother are pretty much everything in the business. They're doing all the services, they're answering the calls, they're doing the scheduling, and they were doing everything. So I was like, oh, I'll just hop in and I'll make a lot of money with them. And
yeah,
so out of college, I was more like, oh, I can make 100 grand doing property inspections.
Yeah.
And then I saw what that entailed. It's you work 6, 7 days a week. If a client calls you, you don't get to hang up. You don't get to not answer that call.
Yeah.
You're working till 6, 7, 8:30, 9 o'clock if there's a question. And so after, a year and a half, 2 years doing that, I was like, I remember driving home one day and I'm like, I can't do this for 30 years. Yeah, the money's great, but like, I have no time. I'm getting one day off a week. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And, at that time, my buddy was in Las Vegas. He was in the Air Force. He went to the Air Force Academy, graduated. He was an officer in the Air Force. He calls me as I'm driving home one day. I had a 2-hour ride home. And he goes, "Hey, man, I met this couple that retired at 28 and 29, and they're teaching other people to do the same thing." And I'm driving home, like after a long day, I'm like, dude, I need to know what they do. Like,
Yeah.
please tell me. And long story short, it was a network marketing company.
Yeah.
And the best thing about getting involved with this network marketing company was they preached personal development,
Yeah.
personal growth. And in college, I can't even tell you if I even really read a book that wasn't a textbook. I definitely didn't. It was just, study for this and then take the test.
Yeah.
And they preached reading every day, success development books, business books. And that's what I started to do. And within a year of doing that, I realized, holy shit, I not only is this can I do something with network marketing, but I have a family business that I can take to the next level.
Mhm.
And so that personal development made me realize I need to get around people who are growing these types of businesses.
Yeah.
And so it was now it's 2000, graduated college 2012. Now it's 2015. I went to Las Vegas. It was an inspection conference in Las Vegas. And remember, it's just me, my dad, and my brother just grinding. So I go to this inspection conference and I'm seeing, not to belittle people, but like blue collar guys, country guys. And I'm asking about their business, and they're like, "Yeah, I have 10 inspectors." I'm like, "You have 10 inspectors? And you live in Utah? Holy shit. I didn't know there was things going out in Utah. Like, me being just from the East Coast and I'm outside of DC, and I'm like, if you can do it, we can do it. Like it built so much belief. And then we came back, and right after that conference, we hired our first inspector. And
Right
then
on.
we hired another inspector. Then I got a backup call center, or a call center to answer every single call because we were missing calls. We ended up having to respond to emails late at night. We weren't answering every call. And so just by getting a call center to come in, business went like this.
Yeah.
It started ticking up. We were able to hire a couple more inspectors. And it was like, oh my gosh, this is everything. Found a CRM. So found a CRM that was perfect for our business. And I was like, we're running things off Google, like
Yeah.
Google Calendar. Like, had no tracking of revenue, none of that. And so now we get this software, we get a call center, but then something happened. Business started to go up, but the personal touch that people had with reaching out directly to us was lost, because now they're just kind of like a number. It's a scheduler. There's no personal feel. And I realized, okay, now we need to hire people to answer calls.
Yeah.
We need to have internal people that we can train, that can be friendly with people, build relationships with people that are calling, especially if it's realtors that use us a lot. We want to build that relationship that can see on a caller ID who's calling, and they pick up the phone. "Hey, Mary, how's it going?"
Yeah.
Rather than just say, "Hey, it's Donofrio Associates. How can I help you?"
Yeah.
Um, and so you learn through growth, right?
Yeah.
And we made tons of mistakes. I think hiring, I didn't know what I was doing. I was doing a Word document of their salary. I was doing a Word document of, a contract, and I wasn't collecting their IDs. I wasn't collecting, making them fill out W-2s and like the hiring information, all the paperwork that you need. And it wasn't until I hired my second transaction coordinator. She's like, "Wait, you're doing things. I don't think you're doing it right." And she told me this during the interview. She goes, "I'm supposed to be filling out this." And I was like, oh yeah, you're right. And so we cleaned up as we grew.
Yeah.
And by growing, it exposed issues or problems that we had to solve that I didn't even realize were problems,
Yeah.
and I think for most people listening, a lot of the times growing will help you, I guess, don't be scared of growth because it's going to expose issues that you will need to find solutions for, but those are good things. And it'll clean up and your business will be able to grow even better based on growing in the first place,
Yeah.
getting out of your own way.
Absolutely. So obviously you're high octane as an entrepreneur. You've been an athlete. Who's been a hero for you in your life?
Hero, my hero is probably my dad, watching him go out and do inspections, not even realizing the business stuff that I was learning, just through how he would communicate with customers. He was good at getting people to like him in sales and showing an interest in people, and you don't realize it because it's your dad that you're watching do this, and you're just like, oh, he's embarrassing. Oh, and then he makes a joke that's corny, and you're just like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
So my dad's definitely a hero.
Yeah.
My other hero would probably be my college baseball coach, at Shenandoah University, Kevin Anderson. He's probably one of the best coaches that I've ever probably in college baseball, in
Yeah.
college sports. And it wasn't until I was reading a John Maxwell book, The Five Levels of Leadership, that I realized as I'm reading this book, I'm like, oh my God, this was my college program.
Yeah.
Like he did these levels of leadership. We had freshman representatives, sophomore representatives, captains, and it all filtered up. The captains ran the winter workouts, ran the practices, ran the workouts during the season and in the off season. And you're like, oh my God, he built leaders under him that ran the program. And it was like, wow, and then it made me realize I learned so much about leadership in business through baseball
Yeah.
that my finance and business degree could have never taught me.
Yeah.
Could have never taught
Interesting.
me.
So who was your favorite player?
Growing up, Derek Jeter.
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you emulate him? Who did you emulate when you played?
So I was an outfielder. So
Okay.
I was, I love Derek Jeter. Did I probably emulate? I love Josh Hamilton,
Yeah.
before his, some of this bad stuff that happened to him.
Yeah.
But I was more of I played outfield. I was about 185, 190 pounds, but I had some pop. I was fast, but I hit some home runs. So, I guess now I probably emulated maybe Ken Griffey Jr. a little
Yeah.
bit,
Yeah.
in that regard. I was fast, and then I had pop. I led my senior year in college. I led my conference in home runs. Um, and it was funny because when I got recruited, he's like, "Oh, you're a base hit hitter." I'm like, "No, I'm like a doubles, and I have some pop now that I'm getting a little stronger." Like,
Yeah. Yeah. What was one of your finest moments? What was one of those magnanimous moments in your career that you just smile when you think about?
I think the biggest, it's funny because in the journey, I don't know as you're going through it, I don't know if there's a aha moment.
Yeah.
Um, But I guess one of the best moments was when we hired enough people and we had some leaders, and I was able to take a step back from the day to day and realize, wow, this business can function without me.
Yeah.
I can take a couple weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks off, and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like there's no major crisis that I actually need to handle, and I still feel that way. Like, unless somebody dies, I don't need to be in the day to day anymore. And I think, it was easier for me to step away because I always wanted to grow something, and getting, I think, with the right people early on, the right mentors that say, hey, you need to build up some leaders and let them run it. Now, I will say this, I did learn, promoting people too quickly, trying to put leaders in place too soon. You definitely have to make sure there's a training plan in place,
Yeah.
and you have to. sometimes the leaders in your company or the people that you think are leaders aren't the people that have been there 5 years. They may not, they're probably not the best worker,
Yeah.
right? And we made that mistake of hiring somebody, promoting them fast. And because they did a lot of inspection, they were great doing the work. But then when we put them in a leadership role, they weren't a good leader. They needed me to come up with the solution. They weren't solution oriented. They just didn't have the qualities. Like leaders should be able to make decisions and stand behind those decisions. And I'll blame myself a little bit, because we kind of scaled pretty quick. I didn't probably train them as best as I could. And it was a
Yeah.
big learning curve for me.
So if you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now, whether it's an athlete or it's in business, who would it be? Who would you love to meet and talk to?
Who would I love to meet? I would love to meet, honestly, because I've just read a couple of his books, Alex Hermosi.
Yeah.
What he's done in a very quick amount of time, building his business to over $100 million net worth, um, and how quickly he scaled it at such a young age. I think he's only 32, 33. Um, and just to pick his brain a little bit, get around him, I think would be so valuable
Yeah.
on some of the stuff he says. What's great about social media and podcast is I feel like I kind of know him already, but he would definitely be a top one.
So of all the things that you've done and overcome and evolved into at this point, what are you the proudest of?
I think the proudest thing I'm from is, and just recently I sold part of my shares into a business. It was a credit card merchant processing business. And when I got started with them, there were some shady things that I kind of overlooked. But I was grinding, we were building a business, and we built it to a great level. I was able to exit by selling my shares of the company. I owned 33% to the other partners, and that was kind of cool. That was probably an awesome moment, but it was the reason why I sold that I'm very proud of. I probably sold at a little bit of a discount than I should have, but there were things going on. I was being told half truths. Basically, I was being lied to, and I caught the other two partners who were actually happened to be in a relationship. They were engaged, having conversations behind my back, and then things weren't adding up, and didn't make a stink of it then. But when I had the opportunity to get out, and I remember having the conversations with my wife and saying, yeah, I could probably make a lot more money doing this. And I'm getting to a point where the residuals of what I'm doing is going to be probably more than I'll make without doing something else. And but what kind of message am I sending my kids if I'm willing to stay just for the money?
Yeah.
And it was a tough decision, but after I realized that, it kind of made it easy.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of that because one, I built something in 2 years that I got to get compensated for and fairly quickly. And then two, I held to some values that now I can say to my kids when they're getting older and they're faced with a money issue or, hey, but I get paid great money. Well, that's not everything,
Yeah.
and I think we'll get rewarded later on by sticking to those good principles and values than just staying for the money
Yeah.
because so
Yeah.
that's
No, I
probably what I'm
dig it.
most proud of.
Yeah, right on. So let's say you had a dream tonight. You ran into the senior in high school age version of you, and you could give that young version of you a piece of advice based on the wisdom you've gained in your life up to this point. What advice would you impart on that young version?
Oh, definitely. So, I mean, I'm telling myself this every single day now is live in the moment. You know, so long I was always tied to the future. Oh, I got the dream. Always this. And I would say, I'll be happy when I hit this. I'll be happy when I do this. And life is in here and now. It's right here with you, Joe. It's me and you having this conversation, and
Hmm.
how can I control now? And you have to live in the moment.
Yeah.
Don't forget about the past, learn from it. Don't think about the future. Think about what you can do today, right here, right now, to hit those goals in the future and focus on winning the day.
Yeah.
I made a post on my Instagram. My motto this year is to win the day. It is to do the things that I'm supposed to do to win the day. And that for me is fulfillment. I struggled even making a little bit of money and, worrying about other things, and you get so you're unfulfilled. Like you're like, wow, I made a lot of money, but I'm not finding happiness because I'm tying my happiness to materialistic things and other stuff. And I'm most happy when when I guess I'm making the commitments that I'm supposed to be doing every single day that I've made for myself. When I can look at the mirror and say, I've done the things I was supposed to do today. I
Yeah.
was the dad that I was supposed to be today. I helped my kids overcome. I worked with my son on his reading and writing. I played with them in football and sports and did the things that are meaningful,
Yeah.
you know?
So everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, clients, colleagues, but you run the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
So I think I have a big heart. I'm loving. I am, I can be direct. I can be stubborn. Um, but I'm somebody that is growth minded. Um, I, you know, um, I'm entrepreneurial. I am happiness when I am pursuing in pursuit of something bigger than myself. And I'm most fulfilled when I'm helping people and adding value to people. I have a golf membership, and let me tell you, golf is a temporary satisfaction.
Yeah.
It is fleeting, it's temporary. The most fulfilled I am is when I'm doing this podcast. Maybe I'm going to touch somebody, maybe I'm going to help somebody overcome something. That is fulfillment.
Yeah.
That stays with you,
Yeah.
right? And that is that's who I want to be. That's who I'm striving to be every single day. Is to be more of that person that can give without worrying, hey, what can I get?
Yeah.
You know what, I want to be able to give without thinking what's in it for me.
So we get off the call, time machine pulls up in front of your house. You can go see one moment in baseball history. Where are you going?
I'm gonna go to um I have to I gotta go see Mickey Mantle. So it'll probably be the 1950s, um, probably 1961, when he's in the race with Roger Maris.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be magnanimous.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to hire you, learn more about you, reach out to you, what's the best way to do that?
So awesome. So my website's joeydonofrio.com. And then Instagram is probably the best way, at Joey Donofrio _. So I had to
Right
make
on.
a new Instagram, but it's at Joey Donofrio _ or joeydonofrio.com. And I'd love to help you guys. And please feel free to message me, ask me questions. I'm here for you.
Cool, man. Joey, thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. Have a great new year, man.
Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Take care.